This is Bad Pete No with an early game Dyson Sphere Program tutorial. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Electromagnetic Matrix, which is arguably the first real milestone of the game. A new player that has no experience and no prior knowledge of what they're getting into, just following the tutorials, can reasonably hope to achieve this in their first session. So what are we looking at here? To produce one electromagnetic matrix, we're going to need a matrix lab being fed with circuits and electromagnets. The circuits are powered by a 2-to-1 ratio of copper to iron ingots, and they produce in batches of 2. Similarly, the electromagnetic coil uses a 2-to-1 ratio, but it uses magnets instead. And that's where the similarities stop, because both types of ingots produce in a smelter at a rate of 60 per minute, while the magnets only produce at a rate of 40. And you can just ignore this for long enough and produce what you need to get started with the game, but eventually this does become a little annoying, and if you're on a quest for perfect ratios, you're going to need to scale things up. So that brings us over here. Now, in order to scale it up and actually get a perfect ratio, you're going to need to create 360 electromagnetic matrix per minute, and you can do this with just a few ore veins. I know that seems like a lot, but it's really not. So first, let's take a look at how our mining machines need to be laid out. And if we take a look at that, we see that we've got 4 mining machines, each consuming 6 veins for the iron and the same 6 veins for the copper. But the mining machines, it's not a total of 6, it's 6 times the number of machines that are actually overlapping it. So now let's add some more details. So we need a total of 24 veins of coverage to produce 2 full yellow belts of iron, as well as 1 full belt from 12 copper ore. And that's going to feed into 6 smelters of copper ingots, 6 smelters of iron ingots, 9 smelters of magnets. We're going to feed that over to 4 and 4 for our intermediaries, and then we're going to need 18 matrix labs to be able to fully process all this material. Now, before we go on, one other quick call out. Sorter cargo carrying speed varies based on distance and based on the level. Now, these Mark I sorters, the yellow ones, are pretty limited. You will get to the green ones relatively early in the game, so it doesn't stay that big of a deal breaker for a while. But we see the shortest one here, we get 1.5 trips per second, then it goes to 0.75, and then it drops to a 0.5. So we're getting diminishing returns, and because we have to push multiple items into our inputs and outputs to our assemblers and to our matrix labs, my recommendation is, if you do want to do it with only yellow belts, you're going to want to double belt wherever you're going with more than a single gap. So let's take a look at how that scales up. If only my drones were this fast in early game. Look at them go. So there we go. We've got our 3 copper smelters on either side, feeding into 6 ingots and 6 magnets. We'll take a look. Here's an example of the double belting. I've got 2 inputs for my iron and 1 input for my copper. They're both at 1 square away. Then I've got double outputs for my circuits because they are 2 squares away. Similarly, to get the double belting to work on the matrix labs, you want to offset them a little bit, otherwise you're not going to have room to put all the sorters in. Again, this problem goes away as soon as you unlock the 2nd level of conveyor belt. So we can see in just the time it took to explain that, we're already starting to ramp up on our electromagnetic matrix production. And now we're going to go into a quick time lapse while this fully saturates. Alright, and there we have it, a fully saturated yellow belt of blue matrix. Not too shabby. So hope this video helped out. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.